Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Dustin Kircher. I got my partner here, Ben Dreiser, and we are with MHP Nation. Thanks again for joining us on our show and listening. We got an awesome guest that we've been talking with for a little while now, and he's got a cool background in the mobile home park space. Kirby Horton he's been in the U.S. Navy for 5 years. He's got a degree in economics from Missouri State. He has 28 years in the employee benefits industry, and he started in the manufactured home industry in 2008. And then with his wife, they created the firm that specializes in partnering with owners and operators and syndicators to revitalize underperforming communities. So we thought Kirby would be a great guest to have on our show because he's got an extensive background working these value add, these infill type projects. So we're happy to bring you on, Kirby. Thanks for coming on the show.
Well, thank you, Dustin and Ben. Appreciate the opportunity here.
Yeah. So tell us a little bit more about your background. And again, thank you for your service. But yeah, tell us how you got into this and what made you start focusing on the infill and value add type projects.
Okay. It's a long, winding road to get to where we are today. So
we're strapped in.
It certainly was not a straight line trajectory. Yeah, it's not a straight line trajectory, which probably we all have in common. None of us, I don't think, went to middle school saying that this is what we wanted to do with our lives. I know in elementary school, I wanted to be an astronaut. In middle school, I wanted to be a dentist. In high school, I had no idea what I wanted to do. So, yeah, it's interesting. So after college, spent some time in the Navy, 5 years. And then after that, went back to college, got my degree in economics, and then went into the financial services industry and spent a good amount of time there. Probably 25, 30 years in the financial services industry. And then was really wanting to make my own mark and do something that was a little bit less regulated, not completely, wild west, not completely that, but something that would give you the ability to create your own day, create your own week and month and year, your own lifestyle, and be your own boss. And of course, in the traditional financial services industry in the United States, it's pretty cookie cutter. You do what you're supposed to do. You get the appropriate licensing and all of that. And you just follow the company's compliance guidelines and put your time in. And I was looking for something that would give us more opportunity to make our own way, to do our own thing. And obviously, you have to be compliant with federal, state, county, and city laws, and common sense as well. But it really gave us the opportunity to be creative and to help people and to see the results of our efforts in person and to see the impact that we make on people's lives. So that's been very, very rewarding. How did I decide to transition from the financial services industry into manufactured housing industry? I'm a voracious reader. I'm a sponge for knowledge. I love to read.
Nice.
I just read. Picked up a book from Lonnie Scruggs and read that book, of course. So many of us have. And it was just like an epiphany. I mean, this was it. It just resonated so well with what I was looking for. And, did a little bit more research. Obviously, there's no course that you take for the most part, and there's no plan of action or path that is spelled out for you. You just sort of have to blaze your own trail. So after reading Lonnie's book and a few other things that I could pick up here and there, subscribed to Bigger Pockets, which helped quite a bit, in the early days. So between the Lonnie book and the bigger pockets stuff, uh, that sort of set me on the course, and we started basically being a Lonnie dealer. And we got to the point where we probably had, I don't know, maybe upwards 50 or 60 homes that we were involved in. We would buy these homes, or they would be given to us, but we would buy them cheap. We would actually invest money and time into rehabbing the homes,
Hmm.
fixing them. I'm not a carpenter. I'm not a trades person. I was a white collar financial guy. Uh, so that was, in some ways, that was fun to be able to, pick up a caulking gun, pick up a hammer, a sawzall,
Get a little
learning what
dirty.
those things are, learning how they work, learning what not to do. That's the biggest lesson, is what not to do.
Yeah.
And so learning it that way, making mistakes on my own. And then as we continued to, and I say we, meaning my wife and I. So as we continued to grow this portfolio of Lonnie homes, uh, I was very, very fortunate in that the park manager in the first park that I worked in actually is an employee of ours right now. He's one of our very valuable employees, and he's
Oh
been in
wow,
the
nice.
manufacturing industry for, gosh, probably upwards to 20 years. And so it's really interesting to see, how he was the manager of this community that had 500 and some sites. And he and I worked very well. The synergy worked out to where we would take their vacant homes and rehab them and resell them to people. We would either resell them for cash, or more often than not on a rent to own. And this was pre Safe Act. So it was a
Hmm.
lot easier then. And so we get up, like I said, probably 50 or 60 homes that we have. And then I realized, and I told my wife this, I said, we are really tied to this job and this community, because I have to go over there the first week of every month and collect rent in
Yeah.
person, and it's in cash. So
Hmm.
here I am at night, in this trailer park, collecting cash for the rents, and I might have 9, 10, $12,000 in my jean pocket, and it's like, this something's not right here. This does not look good.
Yeah.
This could be a problem down the road if anybody truly knew what I had in my
Caught on to
pocket.
it. Yep.
Yeah. So, um, and then the other thing was the legacy piece of it. How do you pass something like that on to your children, or how do you have something that is scalable? Number one, it was not scalable. You couldn't do this and grow the business that this way. So we got to the point where we got hooked up with Rent Manager, which was really beneficial. I moved all of the residents from paying me on the first of the month to paying the park, the lot rent, and then paying me the house payment. So that was our first step in separating ourselves from the Lonnie game. So once we got that under control, then it was okay. Now we know we need to get into the park business, not the home business, but the park business.
Hmm.
So we went out and bought our first park. We bought it, we sold it, lost $70,000 on it. Not
Mm.
a bad, not a bad loss in the big picture. You're always going to pay your tuition one way or the other, and rather than pay it to the university, I paid it, on this deal that didn't go very well. But we did learn a lot, and I am very thankful. I wouldn't redo it if I had an opportunity. If I was given a mulligan, I wouldn't take it. I would
Mm.
I would not redo it. We learned so much; it was well worth the 70,000 that we lost. It wasn't 70,000 over time. It was 70,000 over a 3-year period. So
Yeah.
it didn't sting as bad. Um, and then after that, we were fortunate enough to be able to take the lessons that we learned from that. And going forward, we teamed up with seasoned people that knew what they were doing, and it wasn't their first rodeo.
Yep.
So by teaming up with those guys, we learned quite a bit. And their business model was to find distressed communities, purchase the distressed communities, rehab, fix them up, and then resell. And so we did that for several years with them, and we learned a lot with that. And then we graduated and moved on to other projects that for us became more complicated, more profitable, potentially more profitable, and ultimately was more profitable,
Hmm.
where we had more equity, more skin in the game. And we just kept moving that direction. And to date, I think we've probably been involved. I know it's in excess of 100 parks, but I don't know the exact number. But we've been involved in quite a few communities where we have left our fingerprints and footprints. And I would like to think that we have left those communities in a better position than they were when we showed up.
Yep.
Uh, that's
Nice.
always important to me. And there's one thing that helps drive. I mean, there's a lot of things that drive me on this. One of the things that drives me is just visualizing some of these small kids, 8, 9, 10 years old,
Hmm.
playing in a community. And it
Yep.
happens to be a community of manufactured homes. And I want those kids, when they grow up and they get married and they have children of their own, I want them to have fond memories of the community that they grew up in. I don't want them to be embarrassed by the trailer park that they came from. I
Hmm.
don't want them to be embarrassed when they get on the school bus. You know, Sam Hales from Saratoga Group, he and I share, basically the same philosophy in that, we do not want the kids to be embarrassed, as they're getting on the bus or getting off the bus. We want it to be a nice community that they come home to. And when they grow up, we want them to have fond memories of the neighborhood that they grew up in. And if we can have a little bit to do and impact that, then, from a non-financial perspective, that means a lot to me.
Yep.
And so we kept moving and moving, and so like I said, we're up over 100 communities that we've impacted. Things are going well. Then all of a sudden, the Fed steps in, and interest rates do something that a lot of us have not seen in a long time, which
Hmm.
is basically, move the interest rates from practically zero to where they probably should have been all along.
Hmm.
Uh, However, that really wreaks havoc in your modeling. When you purchase something at a 6 cap and you're getting money at 3, and you're expecting to exit with everything being the way it was when you went in, and then all of a sudden the world's been turned upside down and it's not, that really gives you pause for consideration, and you're thinking, okay, we got to rethink this, because during this period of time, we were very blessed, very fortunate to be introduced and have our worlds collide with some very talented, dedicated, loyal people, and people that came on our team. Um, we have never ever advertised for an employee. Uh, all We've never hired anybody that came to us looking for a job. Every employee that we have, we've gone out and we've sought them out and we picked them out. They were not in the market to come to work for us, so we feel very fortunate, and our longevity, the tenure of the employees that work for us is tremendous, and the turnover is very, very low on the employee side. And so as we were experiencing this new world of these interest rates and cap rates and all of this happening, it was like, we don't want to scale down, we don't want to shut down, we don't want to lay off
Hmm.
this talented crew of people. It's taken us a long time to identify, hire, train, and retain these people. How do we, what do we do? And during this period of time, Dustin and Ben, you're always hearing, and I know you guys hear it too, when you're visiting with other professionals in this industry, the difficulty in bringing in new homes or infilling parks. So many people talk about value add. They're looking for value add. I don't know how many people really understand what value add means. Value add means a lot of hard work.
Yeah.
It means a
Yeah.
lot of hard work, and it means a lot of money. And value add is not just increasing rents, and saying you added value.
Yeah.
You might have increased the market value of that asset, but you did not add value to the community.
Yep.
You did not improve the lives of the person living in lot number 18 or lot number 248. I want you to explain to them how you've increased the value to them by increasing their rent $50 a month.
Yep.
They're going to look at you like you're crazy. So, so as we are talking to other professionals in the industry, our counterparts, our peers, people that we look up to, and a few people that we look down to, it's like there is a niche, there's a need, there's a vacuum here of infilling parks. It's a pain. It's a headache. Nobody likes it. Nobody has good things to say about it. It's complicated. It's difficult. And we, quite frankly, over the last several years, we've installed well over 1,000 homes, probably 2,000 homes. Wow. Between for ourselves and for other customers. And it's like, we sort of know what we're doing here. Why don't we maybe shift our focus and do a little pivot? And instead of actually, spending the time and money seeking out these distressed properties, and spending 24 to 36 months turning it around and hoping that the interest rates and the cap rates are where they need to be to exit, maybe we sell our services to fellow investors and provide them a real value add. So we started tiptoeing into that last fall, maybe a year ago, or just shy of a year ago, and the reception has been tremendous. We just literally every week, we receive at least 2 phone calls from either individuals or groups looking for assistance in doing installation of new homes into their communities.
Nice.
So it's worked out really well for us. And so during that period of time, that transition, we've been able to keep all of our employees busy. We've been able to keep all of the equipment working. We've not had to sideline anybody, either equipment or people. We've been able to not miss a step. In fact, I would venture to say that, from a financial perspective, it's been a windfall for us. It's been really good. And I think the thing that helps set us apart is, number one, it's A to Z. There's not a stone left unturned. So that includes everything from working with the local planning and zoning, finding out if they can bring in homes. And then, once you can bring in homes, what other requirements or restrictions are there? In terms of setbacks, not just setbacks from the property lines, but setbacks from one home to the other, side by side, end to end, setbacks from the street. And then you got setbacks from utility lines, from gas lines. So there's a lot of surveying that we do, a lot of stepping off and measuring, a lot of double checking with the local municipalities to make sure that we know what we're working with before we even start working. Then once we've got that figured out, we go back to the customer who's the owner of the community and say, okay, here's your inventory of empty lots that you have. And here's what can be done with each one of those lots. Lot number 13 has this large oak tree. That's the only thing that's stopping you from infilling lot number 13. Do you want to spend, $2,300 to have that oak tree removed so you can put a home in there, or do you want to just pass on that? So we'll go through each lot in the community, explain the challenges that each lot poses. Are the utilities there? Are they stubbed up? Are they ready to go? Do you have power lines or power poles that are in the way, trees that are in the way? buildings from the next door neighbor that's encroaching onto that vacant lot. So we go through all of that. And then, we don't sell homes. We have a lot of good relationships with the manufacturers, but we do not represent the manufacturers. Obviously the top three, your Claytons, the Champions, the Cavcos pretty well dominate the industry. We've got good working relationships with all three. So whichever manufacturer the community owner wants to bring into the community, that's their decision. That's their call. We don't help them arrange the financing or anything like that. So they place the order. Then we get started. We prep the lot, get the lot ready. If we need concrete footers, we get those installed. If it's further south and we don't need footers, we're good there. We get the lot ready. The day the homes come in, we've got people on site to receive the homes. We get the homes set. Then we connect the water, the sewer, the electrical. We purchase the heat pump, get the heat pump installed, get the skirting installed, the steps, the driveway, the parking pad, interior make ready, exterior make ready, call in for not only the permits early on, but also call in for inspections. And then when we're all said and done, we turn the keys over to the community manager and the home is ready to sell or to rent out. So
Nice.
it's truly, it's truly a one-stop shop, A to Z. And if you all or any of your listeners have ever been involved in the infill process, that every step along the way, typically, a lot of times there's a different vendor for each one of those things.
Mm-hmm.
Your step guy, your skirting guy, your plumber, the electrician, the HVAC, the set guy, the dirt guy to build the pad. Sometimes, these guys might do more than one thing. Very, very seldom do they do it all. And with us, one call does it all. So you call us, you've got one invoice from us. All of our people are covered under workers' comp. All of our equipment and vehicles are covered under a fleet policy. We've got general liability that we put the customer on as an additional insured. And there's one invoice when it's all said and done.
Yeah.
So you don't have a regional manager or a community manager or the owner of the community having to coordinate all of the deliverables to be done, not just to be done, but to be done right and on budget and in the proper sequence. You can't put the steps and the skirting on before you do electrical and plumbing. You just can't do it. So you got to make sure that everybody's on the same page of doing everything right and within budget and in the proper sequence. And that's what we do. And quite frankly, community managers are the most unsung heroes in our industry. Community managers are underpaid for what they do. We expect so much from them. We expect them to be a pit bull when it comes to collections. We expect them to be, sweet as Southern sweet tea when it comes to leasing homes out. We expect them to understand technology and running Rent Manager and Excel reports. And they don't get paid all that much for knowing all of that. So to expect a community manager to also take on the responsibility of infilling a community, and dealing with all these different trades and all of these different vendors is sort of setting yourself up for failure. It's just, if not failure, at least underperforming. At a minimum. So basically, that's our value proposition that we bring to the table is that you make one phone call, you get one invoice, you've got a fully insured and bonded company handling everything from A to Z.
Nice. So, wow. I mean, that just right there was a great amount of information. And there's a lot to unpack there. So I'm going to go back into earlier in the conversation, you were talking about your first park, right? The 70K loss.
Yes.
And the lessons that you've learned on that. I'm curious, what was the top lessons you learned on that park that you lost 70,000 from?
Well, they're all tied for number one. Okay. So they're all bad. Number one, not understanding the business. I understood buying, rehabbing, and selling used mobile homes. I figured that out. It's not easy, but I had it figured out.
Mhm.
The actual parks themselves present an entire different set of issues. Number one, we bought the wrong park in the wrong market. Okay. Fortunately, we had owner financing with very little down, so that helped. Um, I did very little, if any, DD. Didn't even know what DD was,
Mm.
quite frankly, and so that was a mistake. The homes they were all park owned. They were very old. I felt that I needed to go in there and rehab these pre-HUD homes. None of them were HUD homes. So I felt the need to go in there and rehab pre-HUD homes to the point that they were really nice, and that I could get good money for them. $12,000, $15,000 for them. That was a big mistake. It's just not going to happen. Um, and then not understanding the market, buying the wrong park, in the wrong market, um,
Hmm.
and not having the right controls, not having the right people in place. It was a small community, probably 25 units. And like I said, it just if whatever mistakes you can think of, I can guarantee you, I just about made it. But that's
Nice.
that's that's what builds strength. That's what builds knowledge, and
Yep.
and that's what you persevere.
I think you said earlier too, is you learned a lot of lessons from the mistakes. And I'm the same way too, is like you learn if you're not learning from your mistakes, that's a problem, right? You
Yes.
should sit back, kind of reflect on what happened and how could you improve that if that was to happen again or not have it happen again. So I appreciate you saying that. The other thing I want to mention too, which you kind of slide past pretty quickly, which is very impressive, is 100 communities you've basically touched, right? Out of those 100 communities, which is very impressive, what has been like kind of the ongoing things you see or issues in these parks? Because you get into these after most likely they've purchased the park already, right?
Right.
And what is it that you're seeing that owners, operators are missing when they buy these parks, and now you're coming in to help with the infill?
If you're when we there's I guess maybe three. I'm trying to think. That's a good question. You put me on the spot there, Dustin. I'm thinking off the top of my head, just brainstorming. There might be like three types of owners. You've got your institutional,
Hmm.
and they dot all the I's, cross all the T's in the DD process. And for the most part, occasionally they'll be blindsided, but for the most part, they're not. They usually go in, with eyes wide open, pretty well knowing
Yeah.
what the game is. Yeah. And then you've got your first timers, and which is the other end of the spectrum, and they truly are well intentioned, and they do everything that they can. But until you've actually done it yourself, all of the book knowledge and YouTube and training that you're doing behind the screen is not a sub. It helps tremendously, but it's no substitute for pulling on your boots and being out there and
Yep.
doing it.
Yeah.
And then the middle of the road is they're not your institutional people, but they're syndicators that are syndicating to friends and families, and those are sort of the in between. But I'd say of everything across all three categories, one of the areas that typically tends to bite them more often than not is not understanding um, the planning and zoning locally, not
Hmm.
understanding, can you bring homes in?
Yep.
That's the first question. Can you? And then if you can, how difficult? What kind of hurdles are they going to present to you to bring these homes in?
It's
Um,
funny you mentioned that because we are dealing with something like that too ourselves.
Are you? Yeah, it's that's really frustrating, because the mayor and the county commissioner and all of these people are going to be on the bandwagon about being able to provide affordable housing for their community.
Hmm.
You're not going to find anyone who is against providing affordable housing.
Yeah.
I mean, who's going to who's going to even if you believe that, you're not going to say it,
Yeah.
right? Um, but behind the scenes, do their
Ex-
actions match their words? And more
exactly.
often than not, the answer is no.
Yep.
More often than not, the answer is no. You know, the local at the federal level, HUD has done a really good job. We've got 7 or 8 of our employees are HUD certified installers.
Nice.
Um, yeah, very nice. And we've got a great relationship with HUD. We've got a great relationship with the inspectors at HUD. We think we understand, the HUD process very well in those states that are HUD
Hmm.
regulated. Um, Keep in mind that all states are HUD states. It's just that there's 15 states in the country that have turned over the supervision and management and oversight to HUD.
Mm.
The other
I did not know that.
states, the other states have their own divisions within the state that monitor and regulate manufactured housing, but they still have to comply with HUD.
Yeah.
But there's 15 states that have said, we don't want to be in the compliance business. We'll let HUD take care of that.
Yeah.
And those tend to be northern and western states.
Hmm.
You Illinois, for instance, we're doing infill just northwest of Chicago right now with 50 homes, and it's a HUD state. Um, so I
Would you
think
say
the
those
the
are easier to work with or harder to work with when they're a HUD state?
once you understand it, it's easier.
Yeah.
It's very easy because HUD basically says you've got your manufacturer. The manufacturer has their installation guidelines and an installation manual saying this is how you install one of our homes. And it gives 2, 3, maybe 4 different options for the installation process.
Hmm.
And then based on where the home is located, um, you're gonna take the method that works best for that area, for that geography. Um, and as long as you follow the manufacturer's guidelines on the installation of that home, HUD is okay. They're they will follow and they will inspect and they will manage very tightly what you do. They want a very clean shop. They want your stuff looking pretty. They want it to be nice. And I got to tell you, in the HUD states that where we install homes, those are this is might be a little bit of hyperbole, but those are the most beautiful installations that you'll see. Before the skirting gets put on, you look up, and only a mobile home geek could get excited about stuff like this. But you look up underneath that home before the skirting is put on, and everything has its place, and everything is in its place, and everything is tightened the way it should be. There's no loose ends. There's no dangling wires, no dangling anything. I mean, it's
Hmm.
clean as a whistle, and it looks great. And so we do like working in HUD states. Uh, we also enjoy working in non-HUD states. And you got to keep in mind that in HUD states, HUD only enforces the installation of the home. The deck, the steps, the skirting, those things are still up to the local municipality. Okay, it's just the installation of the home that HUD inspects and oversees. So you still have to work with your locals on the non-installation pieces of it. And it's the local, the county and the cities, those departments where we find frustration and we find issues and I hate to use the word problem, but it's I guess challenges might be the better word.
Hmm.
The local and the county and the city zoning and inspectors, that can be very, very challenging.
Yeah.
My recommendation there, and you all are going through it, I'm sure, right now. The best thing you can do is set up an appointment at the planning and zoning office, meet with the head of that department, meet with the chief inspector, meet with some of the other inspectors, come in and be humble. Tell them that you're here for the exact same reason they are, which is to do it right. And yes, it's not our first rodeo. We've installed thousands of homes, but guess what? We've never installed one here. So we're asking for your guidance. We're asking for your help. How do we comply with your local ordinances so that we're delivering a good product, to the residents of your county or your city? What can we do to make it right? And then we have a checklist, a very lengthy checklist that we go through with the local planning and zoning, saying these are and it gets very, very minutia. I mean, we get right down to, the cutoff switches and the little nipples that you put on the end of the drain pipe for the AC and things like that. We really drill down because we want, number one, we want to make sure we understand what they want. But also, number two, we want them to understand that we do pay attention to detail.
Yeah.
And that these things are important. They are important to that zoning department. They're important to the inspector. And we don't take it lightly, the responsibility that they have. We might not always agree with them, but we understand the importance that they place in their ordinances and in their inspections. And we try to treat them with that kind of respect and understanding and do what they want to see done, so that we can accomplish, so that everybody walks away as a winner.
Yeah. Nice.
Yeah. It echoes exactly what we're in the process of doing, and the same approach on the overall is working with the city on the same page and trying to give them what they want and work closely with them rather than try to get something by them.
Yeah.
You're absolutely right, Ben. And the thing is, it's so much easier to do it up front than it is to come back and apologize. Over the years, especially in sales, you always say, well, I'll ask for forgiveness instead of permission. Well, yeah, in some situations with the zoning people and the ordinances, that does not work very well.
Yeah.
You're better off getting, everything figured out up front instead of apologizing and asking for forgiveness later. You're better off doing it right the first time.
Yep.
Yeah, that's exactly the case. How about now from your portfolio and your actual acquisition? Are you still acquiring? What's your game plan on that end of your business?
We'll never, if it involves manufactured housing, we're involved in it. So we still own some parks. We've got a few that are under contract to sell over the next 60 days. We purchased an RV park in December up in
Nice.
West Virginia. So we're certainly not pulling all the chips off the table, in terms of operating parks. Just this afternoon, I get a phone call from one of our people. We had a fire that completely destroyed a tenant-owned home. And that's, those are tough because, that impairs that asset. As you all know, that's probably about a $50,000 loss to the park, on a per pad basis. At least 50,000. So it's no, Ben, to answer your question, yeah, we're certainly not out of the market in terms of purchasing. I would say that we are a lot more careful and selective in our purchasing these days. We would not purchase some of the properties today that we purchased 7 or 8, 9 years ago because the market is so much different.
Yeah.
The other thing that we've experienced, Ben, on the purchasing side, on the buy side, is a lot of your mom and pops, and when I say mom and pop, I mean maybe somebody that owns 5 or fewer communities. They they've been told for years and years by brokers that their community is worth this amount, and maybe it is at a 5 cap, but you're not selling 5 caps today. And so, this operator, this owner, who that might be the bulk of their estate, that might be the bulk of their assets, is that mobile home park that they own. And they've been told all these years by brokers that it's worth X amount. And then you go in today and you rock their world by telling them that it's probably only worth about 2/3 of what you were pitched before. The market has changed that much, that $2 million asset is now probably 1.3, because of interest rates. And they just find that hard to believe and hard to swallow. And quite frankly, so do I on some of our properties. We've got some that intrinsically, I know they're worth more than what the market is willing to give today. But I also understand as a buyer that it's only worth that amount today.
Yeah.
But I also know that the underlying asset has value, that once interest rates, assuming interest rates dip down again, the true value of those assets will again rise. So we'll see.
So I'm curious, the different communities that you've been part of, what do you see some of the operators doing to create a good community, like actually make it a community where everybody interacts with each other? It makes it a nice, safe place where the 8 and 9-year-olds can be out there playing and be proud of where they live. What is some things that you have seen operators do to provide that?
The most important thing you could do is be a hard ass. Yeah, I mean, you've got to have rules and regulations, and you got to stick to them. You cannot play favorites. You can't get into the gossip game. Your community manager. Mm-hmm. The community manager has to be, fair, has to be compassionate, but has to enforce the rules and regulations across the board evenly. Even if you're a large dog lover, you cannot have large dogs running loose, or any dog running loose in the community. Mm-hmm. You've got to keep, it's got to be safe. You cannot have children at risk of getting bit or mauled by a dog.
Yep.
And that's frustrating. Something you would think something like that would be simple and easy, but it's not. And, I've yet to find a animal control division of a county or a city that is responsive to our needs. Most of them, if they even show up, they'll say, yeah, the dog hasn't bitten anybody, we're not going to do anything. And that's if you get them to show up. Animal control, I'm sure it's a difficult job. I wouldn't want to be a dog catcher. But dang, you would think that they would listen when you're calling them, telling them that you've got stray dogs running around. But anyway, so enforcing rules and regulations, keeping the community clean. One thing, we've got 2 sons that work for us, and one of our sons is out in the field, and he's very good about telling people, you really don't know what a community is like until you walk behind the homes. Everything looks good from the street, but you get out of your truck and you walk in between the homes and you walk behind the homes, then you really see what's going on in that community. So I think having your community manager walk the park frequently, and that's one of the things, Dustin, on submetering the water. We use remote submetering at times, but we also do local reading at times as well. And there's advantages both ways. I love the remote reading capabilities. You instantly know if you have leaks. It's really nice. Yep. The one thing that you lose by that, though, is you don't have somebody out there reading the meters every month. And if you've got a maintenance guy or a manager that has to go out and read the meters monthly, then you've got somebody who's actually seeing the underbelly. They're seeing the backside of the community, and they can identify problems that might not be identified if you had a remote reading system in place. So I think, circling back to how do you make that community friendly for that 8 or 9-year-old growing up? You enforce the rules and regulations across the board with, you really enforce them. Keep the park clean, keep the riffraff out. You don't have to have a swimming pool. You don't have to have a $70,000 playground. You don't have to have a splash pad. All of those things are really nice. But if you're going to be in an affordable community that's for working class, chances are those items I just mentioned are probably not going to find their way into your budget. Because they're really, not just the cost of installing, but the cost of maintaining and the additional insurance cost of having those things. Yeah. So you don't have to have all of those amenities that I mentioned. Just keep the place clean and be fair, treat people with respect, and don't take any flack from anybody.
Yep.
And it sounds like you could help somebody with a park that needs infill get it to that point. Obviously, they're going to have to, after you leave, they're going to have to maintain it. But your services would essentially get the park to that point where they have that community that they're proud of. Is that essentially right?
Absolutely. It is. And you know what, Ben? I tell you what's really funny, and this is something I did not expect. If you look at our revenue, and if you look at where the dollars are coming from, the focus is on the infill, the installation of new homes. However, there is a sub component that we're getting, and that is CapEx and some operational work that needs to be done. I can think of 3 communities right off the bat. As we were in there doing installation, they had erosion problems, not around the homes that we were installing, but in other areas of the community. And they asked us about it. They just said, hey, we've got this problem here. You can see the problem. You've got the rain coming in, it's washing down through here. We can't keep the skirting on these 4 homes because the water coming down the hill, just pushes it and washes it away. And I can think of 3, maybe 4 examples where we've gone in with a solution of erosion remediation, where you maybe build swoles, you put in some French drains, you redirect the water, to certain areas, and then you sod the ground when you're done with it. And I can think of 3 or 4 communities where we've assisted doing that. Or, they have a lot of homes that need to be demolished or pulled out of the community. Every week, I think we're probably demolishing homes every week, where we're being asked to do that. And that's not something that we go out and seek. We're not civil engineers. I'm not looking to do erosion control. I'm not looking to, demo old homes. These are things that we're being asked to do by our customers while we're already there doing the installation of the homes. So that was a little surprising to me, the amount of requests that we're getting for non-installation CapEx, and occasionally even basic repair and maintenance work.
And is there, off the top, do you have some numbers that our viewers like what to underwrite in a deal to use a service like yours? Is there any ballpark that they could use that's applicable? Is that something that you're able to give, or is that a little more difficult than that?
It's scattered pretty good there, Ben. It's all across the board. The further north you get, the more complicated it gets. I hope I don't scare anybody away. I'm going to go with the outliers, the expensive stuff. you get pretty far north on a single wide, you could be looking upwards 35,000 to install a home. That does not include the purchase of the home. That's the installation.
Is that just the labor cost, or is there certain factors to deal with the county or cities?
It's labor and material.
Okay.
Because when you get up there and your frost line is so far down into the ground, you have to go in. You've got to drill the foundation holes. You have to pour concrete. Concrete's expensive. It is starting to come down a little bit right now, the price of concrete, but it got so high, even coming down a little bit, it's still expensive. So you've got that expense, and then further north, you've got to go with insulated skirting. Insulated skirting is probably cost-wise. If I was doing a home, say in Alabama, Georgia, South Carolina, you're looking maybe material cost for skirting, say $700. If you get up in the northern climates, where you have to do insulated skirting, you're looking at maybe 3,500 of material, just material cost. And I will tell you that installing, skirting a home up north with insulated skirting is more labor intensive than the stuff that we use in Alabama and Georgia. So, you get both. You get the cost of the material and the extra cost of that labor of installing that material. So I think, and then, things just keep adding up, the further north you get. You've got to wrap all your pipes with electrical tape. Then you have to insulate them. You got to make sure everything is well buried below, the frost line. So there's a lot of things you need to do up front. So, I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, I'm not shocked anymore. I used to be, but I'm not shocked anymore if you're up north and you're having to pay 35,000 to install a new home. That's all in. That includes the purchase of the heat pump, the purchase of everything that's needed to install that home. Okay. And then, you can get down here in the South, where you don't have that climate problem, you can probably work that number down to the 18,000 range. And again, that's a nice 2.5 ton heat pump, nice skirting with access panels, really nice steps and decks, with a 6x6 landing as standard. 6x6, that's 36 square feet landing. So, those are nice, and that's our standard. So, down south, you're probably looking in the 18 range, and then up north, let's just say double it, if you're up north. Wow. But Ben, to go back to your question, it's across the board based on, and those are single wide costs, not double wides. So it really just depends on the where you're installing.
Yep.
Thank you for that. I think that's huge for people to know and kind of understand, because I think people think they just buy the home, it gets delivered, and that's all they have to do. I don't think they understand how complicated and time, and like you're saying, with the cities and just having a full understanding, making sure everything is code compliant. And up north, you just said it, like how much crazier it can be and how many more things you have to take in consideration. So thank you for sharing so openly with that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yep.
So Kirby, we're approaching an hour here. Do appreciate your time and want to respect your time. You've given so much valuable information. How can people reach out to you?
Well, I got to tell you, Ben and Dustin, that the time goes by quickly when I'm visiting with you guys. So again, I appreciate the invitation. Impressed with what you guys have done. I know Pam, who works for our company, one of our executives, she and Ben work closely and communicate frequently, and we appreciate that relationship. Dustin, to answer your question, they can get a hold of us. Our website is thefirmmhp.com. That's probably the best way to find out what's going on. Thefirmmhp.com. Email address for all of our people, same format. It's your first name, dot last name at the firm, mhp.com.
Nice.
Phone, my cell number, 615-482-0987.
Perfect.
No prank calls, please. I get enough spam calls as it is.
Well, we'll include that all in the show notes, and so we do appreciate
Thank you.
that. Any last words before we jump off here? Any words of advice?
Nope, just always do things for the right reason, and do things for people to help people, help communities, help people. The tagline to our company, the firm Inc., we build better communities. If you go out there with a mission of improving people's lives, your life will be improved as well.
Nice. One last question I think our listeners are probably going to want to know, and I'm actually curious too, is
Sure.
do you actually, so I know you're doing the infill, but are you guys also providing any kind of ongoing management?
We have in the past.
Okay.
It's something that we are sort of kind of steering clear of now, Dustin.
Got it.
Not saying that we won't, but the situation has to be really right. We've got to know the players. We've got to have a lot of because it's a partnership. It's a marriage, and we put a lot of effort. We put our reputation online. We live, breathe, and sleep what we do, whether we own it or not. And
nice.
We have to be aligned. Our values have to be aligned, and our game plan has to be aligned. And if we're fortunate enough to have all of that collide, where the values and everything is aligned, then absolutely we're open to discussions.
Got it. Very good. Well, thank you again, Kirby, for coming on the show. Thanks for you and Pam and the staff that's answered our questions. And I know I've spoken with Ben multiple times. So we do appreciate you coming on the show and sharing such valuable information that you've come across over the 100 communities plus that you worked on. So thank you again for
thank you,
coming on
Dustin.
the show. Yeah.
Thank you, Dustin. Thank you, Ben. Appreciate it.
Thank you.